All right. I think we're going to get rolling. We're up to 12 folks watching, so there are a lot of things going on right now in Shakopee, and I just wanted to give some idea and context around different things that are going on, and just wanted to help everybody out so you can see a lot of the different things that are happening and going on, and ask questions if you're concerned or curious or whatever it is about those things that are happening. So this morning I went around town and took a few pictures of things just to kind of walk through um, everything that we've got going on. And so we'll start with a couple of different things here. As I left my house and as we're leaving my house, this is one of the first things that I run into is the roundabout. So hopefully you can see the roundabout on here. And the roundabout, I got, this is one of the things that prompted this chat to happen here is that I've gotten a ton of questions about the roundabout, saying that they've heard from a lot of folks that we're going to rip the whole thing out and start over again because it just doesn't work and all those kinds of things. So it actually is not true at all. There's like a 5-6 foot section right in the center of the roundabout at Vierling and Spencer it's just dirt and gravel in there, and that's too high, so that needed to be lowered a little bit so it doesn't get hit. The snow plows don't take it all away, but that's all it is. But overall, I know some folks are not huge fans of the roundabout, but vast majority of people are loving the roundabout, and so that is a very good thing. But the roundabout is doing really well. The accident rates are much, much lower than the four-way stop was, and so I think that's a success there. And so we'll keep going with that and see how that all continues and where we go with that from there, and if it makes sense in other places in town or whatever it is. This is kind of the 800-pound gorilla in the room here. This is early morning Vierling and Marshall, so I get a ton of feedback from folks that they hate this project, and I get that. It's a lot of work there, but this project's only been going 2.5 months, and it's a huge project. So what is happening with this one is that it's being completely reconfigured. So actually, it would be easiest if I pull up on this Shakopee website, the New City website, Kristen Holtz, I cannot give her enough. She's our communications coordinator. I cannot give her enough kudos because what she does on here is incredible. So if you go into the ShakopeeMN.gov and to current projects, 99% of the questions that everyone is asking me about tonight are in here and answered on here, and it's a great thing. So here we've got the Marshall Road and Vierling intersection project. And so this whole thing is a really big project. And if we go to the Bolton Mink stuff, this is what we see here for the entirety of that project. And so what will happen here, this is 169 on this side, and 169 that will make a clean traffic route going from 169, if you follow my cursor, onto Marshall and then left onto Vierling. So there will be 2 lanes going this entire way, and it'll all be without lights. So there will be lights there, but your lights should turn green as you go through it, because right now we're backing up onto 169, and that's uncool. So as we go through there, that will make this whole motion work out really well as turning left onto Marshall, so going south across 169. That will make that entire motion work a lot better as well. So it will do a lot of really good things to make that entire intersection work a lot better and be quicker and easier to go through on the community. So if you go on to, and this project is going to be done the end of October, early November, depending on how weather treats us with everything here. So if you go onto the city's website, it's very easy to find that information and figure out what all is going on with those individual projects. We are currently in phase 2 of the 3 phases. Phase 2 is going to be the biggest. I don't know how many kids are watching, so I can't. Thanks for whoever said they could hear me just fine. I appreciate it. It's going to be a bear. The second phase of this project will go on for the next 2 weeks. So it'll be 2 weeks of what it is today and kind of a mess that it is. But once we get past these 2 weeks, the remaining 3 to 4 weeks will be much easier. There'll be 2 lanes that go open in both ways, and it'll work out really, really well for everybody. So that is a good thing. But that's a big part of what folks are extremely concerned about right now with that project. So let me go back to my pictures here. And so that's Vierling and Marshall. If you have questions about that specifically, shoot me either email, btabk@shakopee.mn.gov, send me a note on Twitter using ShockChat as the hashtag. Also, you can send me a message on Facebook, or also text me at 952-225-3124. Also works. So as I drove through town and just got pictures of the major projects that were going on, this is one of the buildings that is on 169. This is the one that's just on the south side of 169, not by Lowe's. This is RUB Inc. So Rube or Rub, I'm not exactly sure how to say it, but Rub Inc. They are building a gorgeous building right next to Shutterfly, and so you can see it right in the area of Shutterfly. It's on the north side of Dean Lakes Boulevard there, and you can see they just in the last couple of days they got the painting done, and so there's this like a big wave of reddish, orangish paint. It doesn't show up really well in here, and then a lighter color here, and then the main color for the building. So I'm not 100% sure what it's going to look like, but it looks pretty cool right now. So we'll see how that all ends up. But this is one of the great stories that I'm actually the most excited about. This one and the next building I'll talk about. Both Rub Inc. and Bayer Crop Sciences, they are companies that are already in Shakopee, and they are companies that are here today and working today, and they needed to expand, and they're growing here, and instead of going from Shakopee to Eden Prairie or Plymouth or Maple Grove or Eagan or any other area in the metro that they could have gone to, they just simply are building on the other side of the highway from where they are currently. So the Rub Inc. building is just on the north side of 169, same way with Bayer Crop Sciences. But these stories aren't as flashy and headline catching and all that kind of stuff, but I think these are the most important things that are happening, is that we've got a really good business climate and really working well with folks in Shakopee, and they want to stay here and they want to grow here and continue to be part of the community. So it's a pretty exciting thing. There's a little better. In the photo it looks super red, like Target red there, but it's more of a orangish, reddish, burnt color. I'm not sure how to explain it. But this is a building I keep getting asked about all the time. This is across from Lowe's. This is Bayer Crop Sciences. They're also currently in Shakopee, and they're building a huge mamba jamba of a building. It's a big one, and it's going to be gorgeous as well. So that that one is going in, and like I said, they're just moving from one point to another in Shakopee and growing here in town. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So as I keep going through the picture I took this morning, this is the old ADC1 building. So it's on 12th Avenue, not where Emerson is. This is where TE Connectivity was. TE Connectivity built a new building, also stayed in Shakopee. And DataCard, this is the building that DataCard will be in, and they hope to be in there by Christmas. So that will be a very great thing to have here in town. Then this is a spec building, which means it was a building that was built without a tenant for it. So the building does not currently have a tenant in it, but they're working on leasing it out now and getting things figured out. So it's a pretty cool project. This was one of the first spec buildings that was built in the state of Minnesota after the economy started to come back. And this is over at the ADC 2 where Emerson is going. So that was 110 acres, and Emerson's going on 40-some of the acres. And then the remainder is being built into other buildings and other spaces. So from here, as we go through our tour of Shakopee, this is the ADC 2 building, so this is where Emerson is going. Emerson had planned to move in this spring, but ran into some IT issues and engineering concerns with moving parts of their company over here and leaving other ones for a different phase. So they decided to leave everybody where they were for the summer and are moving next week, actually. So they are in process of moving. So this is beautiful, gorgeous, incredible building. Ribbon cutting, I believe, for this building is October 21st. So it's coming up in October, and it's going to be a great thing. So it's going to be a huge, huge win for everyone in Shakopee. So it's pretty exciting. This is also out by the Emerson building. So this is Quarry Lake Park. It's not developed yet. We're in the planning phase this year and next year for building the park. In 2016 is when the park will be built, and so it's going to be a beautiful park. If anybody went out to the water ski shows this summer, that's where this is. The Shakopee Prior Lake Water Ski Association has been a big partner in getting this park done, and so it's going to have a playground. It's going to have access to the water out there for boating. It's going to have a fishing pier, hopefully paddle boats, all that kind of stuff to really be able to enjoy the water here in Shakopee. It's a gorgeous, clear, really, really deep lake because it's an old quarry. Next one is Gresser Construction. This is on the west end of Raceway Park. So this is over on 101, and this is on the west end of the west third of Raceway Park. And this is Gresser. They're moving here from Eagan, and they're building. It's also a really cool building that they're making, and they're a construction company, and they're doing great things. So that the old Raceway Park property is basically split into thirds. So the west third is Gresser Construction. That's Gresser Construction, and then the east third is Recovery Technology Solutions. They're almost done with their building. There was a truck coming, so I couldn't wait and stop and get a better picture than this. But this is the final stages of getting everything cleaned up over there. But in the back, you can see that building. And what Recovery Technology Solutions does is they're a phenomenal company, and they have been over in the Voyager Bank building for quite a while now. And so what they are doing is they take, and are the first of its kind for recycling asphalt shingles. So it takes the asphalt shingles and strips the grit off of it, and then takes the oils and everything that are in there and the fibers and separates everything and extracts the oils so that they can be reused into asphalt or more shingles. So it's a really good synergistic location for them to be, because Bituminous Roadways is right next door, so they get and give things to them. Certainteed is right near as well, so it's a pretty cool thing that they've all got going on. Continuing on 101 and going through there, 101, the new bike trail is open. So now you can go from Minneapolis, St. Paul, north side of the river, all the way down through Shakopee now along 101, across the river, and then head toward Chaska, and then south through the Minnesota Wildlife Refuge. And it's a beautiful, really nice trail. I've seen a lot of folks out there and are using the trail. So I hope that we do a ribbon cutting for this, because this is a great county project, and it's a really, really cool thing. So if you have time, especially this weekend is going to be gorgeous, head over and use the, you can get on, there's a parking lot over by 169. There's also a parking lot, obviously, at Memorial Park where you can get on there and use it. I had one question about getting across to this new, let me find it here. Well, I can't. Oh, here we go. Since they have extended the bike trail, and this is from Dion, any plans or thoughts as at all to create a safer crossing on the east end of town from south side to north side of 101? Also, any further movements on train situations? I'll get to trains in a little bit. But getting across the 101 is not the safest thing by any means for a majority of the area. So there is a new trail that connects the north side to the south side. It goes right underneath of the bridge that is by Dangerfields and Memorial Park there. So if the old pond house site there that's on the south side of 101, just on that little creek that goes underneath the 101, that bridge. So there's a new trail that is almost finished that will go down, so there'll be a ramp down, and you can go underneath the bridge and then back up again on the Memorial Park side and get onto this trail. So if you want to cross over a place that's 100% safe and you can get over with no issues whatsoever, that is the place to do it. So it's right on that bridge, and you can get from south to north and north to south easily when that is finished, which should be really, really soon here. You can see them, they're working on it now. All right, so a couple other photos that I have here. Valley Fair, super excited. Valley Fair just announced a huge expansion for 2015 season. Hopefully you saw that with a lot of new water park rides. They're going to be huge new slides that go straight down. I'm not exactly sure how the whole configuration will work here, but there will be a bunch of slides that go down. There are also slides that you get up on and you stand in kind of a tube, and the floor drops out from under you. I remember I did it in Texas when I was a kid at Six Flags Over Texas, whatever the water park was that was there, and it was insane and fun, and so it looks really cool. So great job to Valley Fair for that exciting new expansion that they've got going on there. All right, and then I think I'm getting closer to the ends of my pictures. If you are going down 169 as well, and when you're going past Shutterfly, if you're going, let's say you're on northbound 169, if you're going past Shutterfly is on your right side. If you look to the left side, there are two projects that are just in the dirt moving phase right now. The further one away, so on the north side of 12th Avenue, this is 12th Avenue right here. This is another spec building that is being built, so it's a building with no tenant at this point that we know of. There very well might be a tenant, we just don't know as a city through there. And then on the south side of 12th Avenue is a lot of dirt being moved. This is right beside the Holiday Inn, and this project is the new Goodwill. And so the Goodwill is actually a beautiful store. It doesn't look like any Goodwill I've ever seen before. It is gorgeous, so it'll be very cool to see that as it's happening. So that is being built here, and then there are plans, and I think pretty soon they'll be able to announce the area between Ashley Furniture over here and the Goodwill. We'll get some more retail tenants in there, and also they have a couple restaurants, I believe, that will be going in there as well. So hopefully, I don't know the timeline on those, but hopefully those continue to move and come through for us. This is a horrid picture of the 169-69 interchange. That will be opening on in middle of October. It will be coming through at that point, and it's nearly done through here, and so that will be coming through. It'll have a grand opening. I think it's October 21st is when last I heard, but I'm not 100% sure where that's going to go at this point. But it's going to be a great project, and it's been so tough on those businesses that are over there, not just the mall businesses, but RAR getting all their trucks back and forth, Speed Dog, and those areas that are west of 101. So make sure to go over to Ryan, see Ryan at Coffee to Cream, see a movie, those kinds of things over at the mall whenever you can, because they've had a hard time with this interchange being shut down. But it'll be a beautiful thing. We've had a lot of folks talking to us and calling us about at the city about development all through this entire interchange through here as well. The city is in process of purchasing what is the northeast section of that 69-169. So where that new temporary Veerling Road went through there to accommodate this project. The city is buying that land on both sides of Veerling and from MnDOT to be developed, and so hopefully we'll be able to get some great developments and some partners through there to get some more retail and to focus on that west end of town, which hasn't seen a ton of new development, but I think it's just around the corner over there and going to be a good thing. Sorry. I muted so you didn't hear me cough, but maybe I did it the wrong way, and so you couldn't hear me through there. All right, so I've got a couple questions here that have been asked with regard to what I went through, so I'll go back to that in just a second. But I got a question from D. Dolly saying, is Goodwill being pushed out of the mall? There's nothing that I have heard at all that they're being pushed out of the mall. Goodwill was pushing this project to be done. They wanted to be out of their current location for whatever reason. I'm not sure exactly why that is. So they wanted to move, and they want to build a new building because where they're at right now doesn't fit their new model of things going on. So it's a very good thing for them. I really tried hard to talk them into staying out in their current location because I think it's a pretty great location for what I know and feel is coming. So hopefully that will be continued through there. So we'll see how that goes. So Christy, yay to more restaurants. Yes, definitely. That is a huge thing that we are constantly working on and trying to figure out how to make this happen. We don't have a ton of great spots right now. We need a new type of development. So we, Sam DiMaggio, Economic Development Coordinator, and she's one of the most phenomenal people ever, just so everybody knows that. Sam DiMaggio is, we meet quite often to go through projects, and we also meet with people who want to be in town, and so we are at least once, twice a week meeting with restaurants, and so I really think that they're going to start coming very soon. A lot of folks want to be in our downtown area after we got those all the press out of the Star Trib. We had some really great things happening with that, but we're almost out of space in the downtown. There's not much left there, especially of that historic quality, and so there are a lot of folks that are working on getting that and locating in downtown, which is my next picture that I had there, but you all know what the downtown looks like. And so one of the things I couldn't be more proud of is the work and the dedication of all of those business owners and residents who live in that downtown Shakopee, our core area. I think and really feel that is that is what makes us who we are, and the downtown is the core of who we are as a community. And it is really important that we work on that and that we make that the vitality, the excitement, and the things that are going on. And so there are some very cool things happening in the area right now that'll start to become really big things for 2015. And so I'm really excited about all the different things that are happening down there. As Inessa over at For the Journey with new apparel and retail stores is huge. They made a gigantic investment. Some people talk to me about the fact that it's a biker store, and I love the fact that it's a biker store. It is they're such cool people, and they are great. I obviously not a real biker kind of guy, as I'm sure most everybody knows about me already. But it's a beautiful store, and they did such a great job restoring it to historic, the way it used to look, and really incorporating a lot of cool things. So it's a very neat store, and I couldn't be prouder of what they got done there. All right, let me do a couple things here just to make sure I don't miss folks. Sorry, I got two screens rocking here, so we'll check to see what questions we've got on here. Thorman, yeah, I'm catching some heat for scheduling during NCIS and NCIS New Orleans. I'm sorry. It's the way I roll. So we'll go with it from there. A couple other questions that have come up for folks is Brad, do you know if the plan with Marshall and Veerling is to apply a new coat of blacktop on Marshall as part of the project? Yes. It is. That was one of the worst roads in Scott County, and it was intentionally so because it was one of the worst quality rating roads in Scott County, and it was, again, intentionally so because they knew this project was coming through, so they didn't put any money into doing anything but filling the potholes. And so, yeah, it will get so basically Marshall will be new from the hill by East Junior High there all the way across 169 to 17th Avenue, past the hospital, past 78 where the stoplight is going over there, Valley View 78, and then everything south of there has been redone recently. So yes, that is part of the project. How far north that goes, I don't believe this year it goes past like where the apartments are there on Marshall and the car wash and the Presbyterian Church. I don't think it goes that far, but that will come soon as those continue to need it through there. Sorry, Chris, if you're having issues viewing. This is also being recorded, so if anybody has issues, you'll be able to watch it at any time and share it with your friends. And I'll try not to make fun of anybody on here, like Thorman. So. Question: I can't find any timeline for the 10161 Southwest Reconnection project. When will access to Chanhassen be restored? I don't know exactly when that will be, but if you go onto the Shakopee website, I believe that in the residence guide. So if you go to shakopeemn.gov and go to the residence section, Andrew. Here, then you go to current projects. Oops, I lost it. Give me just a sec, messing it up. Current projects. In here is the Southwest Reconnection project, and that link here will give you the phases, and that will give you ways. So if you go to you can sign up. They're actually doing a phenomenal job of trying to keep everybody informed about this project. So there's a Southwest Reconnection Project Facebook page, Twitter account. They've got a website. They've got a newsletter like here that you can get in touch with. Oh, there's us breaking ground. So it's kind of a funny story, actually. So as we were at the groundbreaking ceremony, this is on the Chanhassen side. So this is at 101 and Old 212 over there. So as we started, there's Tom Wolf, and he was, I hate to say it, but he was one of the smartest ones there. He wore his muck boots, and so he's got those on. But as we started this ceremony for the groundbreaking, the water was all the way over here. So we had a good 15 feet before the water got to us, and within an hour or so, the water made it all the way to our mud pile. So it was pretty impressive how fast it was rising that day, and then it took about 18 hours just to get back home. But this website, so if you go to the 61101 Southwest Reconnection Project website, they've got lots and lots of information on there as to when things are going to be closing, when things aren't. So here specifically is your question answered here. So Phase 1, July through October of 2014, is this section right here. Phase 2 is July through December of 2014. So the goal is by the first of the year to have this entire thing done here and opened back up. So that will be moving through there and getting this piece opened back up. So then the bridge schedule itself has a different schedule, but this Carver County section with a little bit of Hennepin County section over here is moving in that direction. So the 101 bridge schedule is shoulders, which is done already so that we can have extra traffic on there. Substructure through April 2015, which means the pounding of all the piles and piers into the ground and the muck that's in there, and then putting the top on from there. So it should go pretty well and handle that way. So you can find that information from the city's website there. All right. Hopefully that helps, Andrew. All right, now I'll get to a couple other questions we've got here. All right, I am very concerned about MnDOT's plan to close 169 to one-way each direction over the river this weekend. With the Renaissance Festival and Canterbury event traffic, it is a nightmare and disaster waiting to happen. South of the river locals, no alternative roadways for what it's worth, but the general public traveling here and home will be gridlocked. Libby, you are absolutely right. It won't be cool. It's MnDOT is actually being phenomenal about trying to figure this out to work with everybody. I got a call early Monday morning from MnDOT asking how would be the best way to get this done for everybody. Unfortunately, what's happening is that the restriping that was done during the flood, it has to go back. There are a variety of reasons why it has to do that, but nobody has control from our level or MnDOT's level. It's a federal thing that it has to go back. We could only change the lanes for the summer, as well that they are very nervous about the snowbanks on the edge. They want to have more room on the shoulders in order to put snow on there, because if you'll remember a guy last, and I just learned this on Monday, is that there was a guy who went over the edge and died during the winter, and I was always assuming that he was that he hit the guardrail and flipped over the edge or whatever it was and landed down on the river. But what actually was he just ended up going and driving over the edge, and and that's because the snowbanks that were there, and so they're very concerned about having those snowbanks and having those on the sides of 169, so they have to go until they get a better management system for handling that. So that's a couple of very good reasons, which they suck, but it is what it is. There's nothing we can do about it. So they were intending to wait as long as they possibly could. So MnDOT was hoping to wait until the end of October before they switched the lanes back. But if you look at the long-term forecast right now, it's looking to be cold and rainy past this weekend for an extended period of time. And so they had to move it up to this weekend in order to get it done. And so what they're going to do is they're going to put, instead of putting paint down, they're putting stickers down. So they need to have a certain amount of height of temperature, which I don't know exactly what that is, in order for everything to stick and do a good job. So it is there. So it will be brutal, but MnDOT was actually phenomenal. They asked us what is best. Should we work through rush hour on Friday? Should we start earlier and try to get it done earlier? Should we work on Saturday? What would work best? And what we told them was we'd rather have, because we think Shakopee residents know how to get this direction from experience if it's backed up, and they know how to get around things. But exactly like you said, Libby, that there's not people who are coming for, we're going to have, this is the last weekend of Renfest, and there are going to be 60,000 people coming to and through Shakopee for Renfest this weekend, and it's a huge number. And so we're going to hopefully get that so that the southbound lanes on Saturday are opened back up as early as humanly possible. So they're going to start on Friday night. Hopefully have those done by Saturday morning. So southbound 169 is fully functional. Everybody's going to end up being kind of on their own on their way home, but there are a lot more options on the way home for getting out. So they'll be able to take 13 over to 35 as well. 101, 41 north, to be able to do those kinds of things. So I think that'll work better at that point. But yeah, it's not going to be easy at all. It's not going to be fun at all. But there's going to be a lot of people moving through there this weekend. So that's why that's happening. Question from Chris about what's the holdup on the Badger Hill Brewery. Doesn't look like they've made much progress on the outside anyways. Chris, go to their Facebook page, and they've been posting updates. They're making huge progress with these bigger breweries like this. They're getting all of the equipment custom made, so basically they were on hold until the equipment could come in, but it's going to be gorgeous, amazing, super, super tasty space, so it's going to be a really good thing for Shakopee. So yeah, Badger Hill, Brock, and Britt are phenomenal people, and they're all using all or nearly all local talent and other folks, and so I'm incredibly impressed with how they are using Shakopee and local area contractors for doing all the work. It's pretty incredible. I haven't heard about that from D. Dolly. Hope City pushes out a warning about 169 this weekend. It's all over right now. We've put it out. We pushed out the warnings. That will happen today. There are signs set up on 169 to let everybody know what's happening. I retweeted some of the stuff today, so it's out there. Hopefully, as many people as possible find it through things. We go to email here and just see what we've got from folks. My question is will there be any retail development coming, maybe down the Canterbury Road, thinking something like Maple Grove. Has your thoughts? This is from Zach. Yes, that's a huge project that we are working on right now. The city has partnered with Canterbury Park. Canterbury Park has a major retail development that they'd like to do, which would include relocating the barns from where they currently are to the north side of the track, and then high-end retail, other very, very cool things, restaurants, other stuff like that. And so we have been working with them. This spring, probably, I'm not sure exactly when it was, but we, as City Council, approved doing a study for TIF redevelopment. I just got a message from Rod. It is liquid with some lime in the glass, Rod, and some Como Zoo giraffes. But they are... I lost my feed now that I'm thinking about the liquid in my Como Zoo giraffes. But the Canterbury Park development is what is happening with the whole thing is that we're trying to use what is called redevelopment TIF, and that's something the city of Shakopee has never done because we've been in the development phase, so having open green space in order to do new buildings and new things on. But what this is a redevelopment, so taking old rundown structures, whatever that may be, and redoing it. You see this a lot more in more urban areas, things like that. So what we're trying to use is redevelopment TIF, and we finally got the okay to do that late this summer. That is a possibility because there are a ton of rules and restrictions and other things as to how you can use it. And so we'll be partnering with Canterbury in some form. We don't know what it is yet, whether council will approve it, but it's something that I think definitely needs to happen. The developer involved is the same developer that developed the Arbor Lakes in Maple Grove. So one of the original ones, not the Fountains or the Main Street one, but the Arbor Lakes development in Maple Grove. And so hopefully we get that all the way through to the finish line. There's a long way to go yet. A lot of things that has to happen, but it's a phenomenal project that hopefully will be coming through the city here in the near future. So hopefully we'll be able to hear more about that as we go along here. Couple questions about Hy-Vee. We have, so I'm an Iowa boy. I have a fond memory of Hy-Vee. That's the grocery store that we went to growing up, and they are phenomenal. They're a really great grocery store. And Hy-Vee in the last year has announced that they're expanding to the metro from southern Minnesota, Iowa, Kansas City, a little bit into Illinois, I believe. So it is a really good thing. And so they're moving up here. They've announced, I'd say, 6 or 8 stores by now. And they didn't announce, but the Minneapolis-St. Paul Business Journal reported that they are working on a store here in Shakopee, and we've been working on this for quite a while. The old Rainbow building, Hy-Vee wanted to be in that location, and so that's a 100,000 square foot building. Hy-Vee needs 100,000 square feet for their current model that they're working on. They have currently in the old Gold's Gym space in that building at Vierling and 169 is a Hosanna Church. Moved in there last November. Great people, really, really good programs, and lots of great things that are happening in the community. But the only way Hy-Vee would go into that building is if Hosanna Church moved elsewhere, and they could have the entire building. So Hosanna Church has chosen not to do that, which means Hy-Vee is not moving to Shakopee, at least at this time. The church is purchasing the entire building, so they're going through that with their congregation right now as to what makes the most sense for them, what they do, and how they move forward with that. So at this time, the Hy-Vee is not happening in Shakopee, which I am really bummed about, but there's nothing much that we can do about it. We tried really, really hard to find a winning situation for all 3 entities. But some folks just wouldn't budge, and we couldn't get there. So we tried, and so hopefully we'll have another shot at it in some fashion. There are a couple of other good places that I think would work really well for Shakopee. A lot of people have talked about the west side of town, that area where the city is purchasing at 69 and 169, which I think would be a great location for the Hy-Vee. However, there's not enough rooftops over there. So if you think about that area, retail is predicated nearly entirely on rooftops. How many people live in an area right directly within a radius, depending on what type of business it is, from that location? If you can tell, in the 2.5, almost 3 years now that I've been mayor, I've learned a lot about retail and grocery stores too. So, but it's all predicated on that radius. How many rooftops within that radius? So if you think about 69, 169, there are a lot of people that live on the northeast section of there, in the presidential streets in that whole area, but there's nobody south of there. There's nobody west of there. There's nobody southwest of there. So there aren't simply enough rooftops in there for retail folks to make their models work with that location. So we've got work to do. We've got things that are happening, and hopefully we'll continue to make it that direction further, but we'll see. I'm not 100% sure exactly where it's going to go from here. We just found out late on Friday afternoon that the church was purchasing the entire building, so we go on from there. I got a question. Do you know if Amazon is building in Shakopee, or if I have no comment on that? You're absolutely right. I have no comment on that, but I also don't know if Amazon is looking at Shakopee at all. There have been some hints at it, but beyond that, I have no idea. That I haven't been involved in any discussions whatsoever with regard to that. And they're building a 1 million square foot facility, which is ginormous, and I don't know exactly where that would go and how that would fit with everything. It's not. it would be cool, but I don't know exactly how that's working. So we don't have any details on that one yet. But if they come, I will let you know. Let me just clear out a couple questions here. All right. Couple other questions. Trains. Trains are a big issue. I'm surprised that I haven't heard it, or you haven't heard it yet. I live quite a ways from the trains, but we are working on getting a quiet zone through downtown area of Shakopee. So basically from Marshall on the east side to 69 on the west side, getting that as a quiet zone. We've been discussing some things with the railroad as to different ways where we can all work together to get it done. We've had some great progress on things. It's a slow-moving process, so hopefully we'll have some more to announce in the next few months. But I'm not going to guarantee anything or put a timeline on that one because that one works on timelines that are not my own. So those of you who know me well know that I like to get things done a little faster, but when you're working with other entities, you can't really. Question is, where can we find out what all the new construction is, such as building by Shutterfly or by the Addison on Eagle Creek? So if you if you're just tuning in now, I went through a whole series of photos of different projects that are going on in town right now, so you can see those. And as well, Kristen Holtz and our Rockstar Planning Department also put together, see if I can find it here, an awesome map that has all of the different projects that are going on in Shakopee. So here we are, map of new commercial and industrial developments. So if you go to the city maps portion of the city website, it's got everything listed, and it I don't think it's been updated in the last month or two, but it's got, I use this map a lot. So yeah, it needs to be updated to add a few other things in there, but for the most part, it is it's rocking for us. But there's but if you look at just all this pink is all new commercial construction in some fashion. So it's not all new buildings, but things happening in those areas. And then here on the right-hand side is a list of all the different things that are happening. So if you look there, there's a lot of stuff that's happened recently in town. There's also public projects through here with the elementary schools and other things like that. Residential projects, so the different residential things that are happening. I get a lot of pushback from folks that we're not building enough houses and that we're not on that. There's a leaderboard list that gets put on the Star Trib every once in a while, or also in the business journals and different things like that. And so with those lists, Shakopee used to always be far and away double the number of houses that were being built, and lots and lots and lots of new people coming into town. I say this forcefully enough, but I'm working to keep us off that list. We want to grow, and we want to continue to grow well and smart and organically, but we do not need to be at the top of that leaderboard list for number of single-family residential building permits that are issued in a year. We need to be able to have places where people can build in town, but we do not need to have 500 new permits in a year in houses. Because what happens then is we get a ton of new folks coming into town, which then puts burdens on all of our systems and services. And we want new folks and we want new people to come here. We just want it to happen intelligently and as a process. So what we're dealing with the schools right now, with the huge bubble, not necessarily bubble, but the huge influx of children coming into our schools, that I lost my train of thought. I was flattered there. Thank you. But the influx of kids that are coming into all of our schools happened because we built so many houses in such a short time. We nearly doubled our population from 2000 to 2010, and that makes it really difficult to keep up when you have lots and lots of kids coming through a system. So that's the growth issues that we're dealing with right now, and I don't want to ever have to deal with those again. And don't get me wrong, I want new developments and new houses to come through, but I also want them to be better for everyone and not just a few people, if that makes any sense at all. So a couple new questions. What is the new building that is being built between Open Systems and Dean Lakes Health Building in Dean Lakes? From Gary. Gary, if you go to the beginning of this after we're done here, it'll be live and it'll be recorded, so you'll be able to watch the whole thing again. I go through some photos and different information, but that is the RUB Inc. building, RUB Inc. It's a Shakopee company that's expanding onto the south side of 169. Update. Chrissy asked for an update on additional high school situation. The school district is going through a huge process right now with a phenomenal amount of community input and a phenomenal amount of work that is just being done to decide what the next steps are for the Shakopee High School, not just the high school, but the entire Shakopee education system. And I'm not the one to answer those questions. I'm involved by the Guiding Coalition is what the group I'm called in, and so they have a facilities group, a tech group, also a tech group, and a secondary design group for deciding the academics and how that all works moving forward with things. And so with that, those groups are all reporting to what is called the Guiding Coalition, and then the Guiding Coalition is reporting to the school board. At least this is how I believe it's happening. And so with that, what will happen from there is the school board will make a decision as to what the next steps will be. I think it's going to go back to referendum. At least we heard of the Guiding Coalition the other night when we had our meeting that it's intended to go back to referendum with whatever the plan is that comes out of this process as a referendum in spring. And so we'll see where that lands. But they are working really hard to get a lot of people's opinions and a lot of people to understand exactly the issues that we're going through and how the best ways to fix them are. So it's a cool process, and I'm glad to be part of it as we hope to get this figured out and make sure, because it's something that we have to get figured out for our kids. I mean, I've got two little girls, and it's something that we really have to get handled and figured out. Chris, I'm going to hold on to your restaurants question for a little bit and go to a couple other ones that we've got here. Somebody asked, what is the process for a quiet zone? Quiet zone is run for the train. So quiet zone is run by the Federal Railroad Administration, so the FRA. And what has to happen there is that there's a series of numbers that we have to meet within a certain level of safety. And so as we put extra bars, so instead of just having one bar that goes on one side of the track and one arm that comes down the other side of the track, you have to have four coming down, so that 4 quadrants, so that they make sure that nobody can get through and nobody can wipe around the bars to get onto the train, across the train tracks. So there are a lot of things that have to be done through there, and for each of those safety increases and improvements you make, you get a certain number of points, and I'm just giving the basics here. So you get a certain number of points, and you have to get to a certain level of those points for your entire system through there. So if we were to go over 30 miles an hour, there would have to be a fence installed along the entire range of along the railroad tracks through downtown. I don't want to do that, so I don't think we're going to go up to 30 miles an hour, at least in my opinion. So as well, there are a lot of other pieces that go with it, and the quality of the horns and all the technology systems and things. So we have to get the FRA, the Federal Railroad Administration, to approve our quiet zone, and then it's just going to be a matter of time and money from that point. So it's we think it'll be between 2.5 and 3.5, maybe up to 4 million. We don't know yet. There could be a couple of road closures involved with it. So if we reduce the number of crossings that need to be managed through there, it makes it a lot easier to get the quiet zone rating up high enough. So we'll see how that goes there. There's a lot of work to be done yet on this process. We will be hiring, or at least council will be voting to hire or not to hire a consultant that really works on quiet zones, so that we can get this figured out exactly what we need to do and how we get it done in the near future here. And sorry, so the first week of school, Jean, our 7-year-old, she's at 2nd grade at Jackson Elementary. Hi, Miss Altonen. She came home with a cold, and therefore it just went boom, boom, boom through the entire family. So we've had a lot of colds going through the Tabke house, and so I get to cough every once in a while, so I apologize for that. We will be addressing service issues with Republic Waste on this online chat. Would appreciate an update from your meeting with them. Appears there is common complaint that it is impossible to reach them by phone if when needed. Thanks. So as you all know, we switched over from Dick Sanitation to Republic Services as of June 1st, I believe it was, of this summer, and the transition was anything but smooth, and there are a lot of reasons for that. By no means are those reasons, vast majority of the reasons were not Republic's fault, and so I'm not going to hold that against them. They've tried really, really hard to get things back into order and get things figured out. So that's good. So the last month or so has been pretty good. I'd say that well into the 95% of the issues have all been figured out and hammered out and gotten taken care of. They had not great data moving into this project, so that transition became rough, and so a lot of the data wasn't entirely accurate, so it made it really difficult to get everything right when it came to the residential end of it. And that's not to let them off the hook. They have some major issues when it comes to especially yard waste. Yard waste has been brutal. It just doesn't work quite right, and they're getting there. Then also the carts that the city purchased, the carts are evidently not as strong as the last ones were, so we're having braking, so we're replacing the wheels and things as that happens. So we're getting those things figured out. So we're getting those transition issues taken care of. But there have been some folks who have been having skipped service, so they have been missed and they need to call them and get back. Wait times are way too long on the phone, and they're in process of hiring a lot of new people to handle it. So it's good, but it's a process. As anybody who works in HR knows, that it takes a while to get some of those things done. So they're working on that. So in our contract, we have the ability to enforce penalties on Republic if we call in and the wait time on the phone is longer than a certain amount. I don't remember what that amount is right now, but it's a very good, reasonable amount. Also, if your service gets skipped, so if your yard waste doesn't get picked up, or your recycling doesn't get picked up, or your street doesn't get picked up, we can assess penalties. So they have $2,500 in escrow right now that we can start pulling money out of. And as of the 29th of this month, we're going to start doing that. We're going to start enforcing those penalties on them. So Republic is trying, and they're doing a great job of trying to get some of the issues fixed, but there have been some chronic things that just won't go away. And I don't really understand why that is, but we're going to start enforcing the penalties on that as of the 29th of this month. And so hopefully from there on we have zero issues and we don't have any problems with those things like we've had in the past, but that's our hope, is that enforcing the penalties will make everybody think and make sure that everything is working as well as it should. And so we're taking it from there, and that will hopefully fix those last remaining lagging issues that come through. So they're trying, they're working really hard on getting things figured out and fixed, but we're taking our side of things to the next level as we speak. So that's where we're at on those. Hopefully I answered the Republic questions. All right, those are questions I've already answered. So if I'm not answering a question, I'm sorry. I'm just not going to repeat a bunch of times on things. We're good after an hour here, so I'll go for another 10 minutes or so. And if you have any dying questions that you definitely need to know about, let me know, and I'll get those answered. But another question we got is, what is the city of Shakopee doing to increase natural parkland splash pads comparable to surrounding suburbs, Highland Bush Lake, Lakefront Park, and the large number in Eden Prairie, such as Miller Round Lake? It seems ours is all along the river or flag, clear cut, and could also be, or been clear cut, maybe that's supposed to say, and could be so much more. I couldn't agree with you more. I really wish that in the past we'd done a lot more to handle things, but a lot of those opportunities have passed us for right now. So where the dog park is going in, the dog park opens up in October, officially opens in October. That is an old oak growth savanna. There we go. An oak savanna that is one of the last remaining ones in Shakopee, and that will be preserved, and that's a city park. So that is being preserved and maintained. Dean Lakes is a phenomenal resource that we've got. There are trails that go through it. You can go run through it. So there's a lot of natural area as well. The entire riverfront is amazing. We're actually working on trying to get a couple things done with the riverfront to really enhance that as an amenity for the entire town. But from there, what we've got is the bluff line. And a lot of the bluff line has been chopped down. A lot of the bluff line that runs all along the east and west and along the south side of town has been ruined, and there's not much that we can do to really bring that back. And but our opportunities are, as we go west and as development happens toward the west, we'll be able to preserve that bluff line and preserve some of that as natural areas for the city. We actually have a ton of natural areas, and most of that is along the river, like you said. But when you talk about Highland and Bush Lake, those are Three Rivers Park Districts, and we have a lot of Three Rivers Park District stuff not far from us at all in Prior Lake and south of town here. So it is a very well-made point, and we'll continue to work on maintaining and preserving those natural areas as opportunities present themselves. But a lot of that opportunity has passed, and not a lot we can do about that. Let's see here. Thanks for putting together this chat. You're welcome. What's 101 Bridge open? Yes, 101 Bridge will remain open during the entire construction process, Chris. And we'll be able to head west on Bluff Creek after the first of the year. Here's the plan for that. I don't know if you were around when I asked you that earlier. Let me go back to email. What is going on with the garbage hauler? Jeff just got through that one, so hopefully that works for you. Josh, thank you for asking. That's actually my next thing. How's the Land of Big Fun campaign going? I don't know what the rest of your question didn't go up there, but the River South campaign that we've been working on has been amazing. It's been great. So just so everybody knows, River South is a partnership between Valley Fair, Mystic Lake, Canterbury Park, Renaissance Festival, Shakopee Mdewakanton Sioux, City of Prior Lake, and the City of Shakopee. So it's a partnership that we created, an entity and a brand called River South. And what are the next phases of the plan? Thank you. So we created a brand called River South, and so this River South brand with the tagline "Land of Big Fun," which can be interchanged and moved as we go into the future. But we're River South. That's where we are. That's where we live. That's who we are. With with a focus on tourism, entertainment, and having a lot of fun. And so this summer, hopefully everybody has been able to get out and do some of the great things that are in town, but it's been a lot of fun. The Festival Palomino was just this past weekend, and it was a huge success, and it was the first one, I believe, that they've ever held, and it went really, really well. They had a ton of people out there. The Shakopee Police Department had the tweet of the millennium, so go and look at Shakopee PD account for that one. You'll know it when you see it, and it's from Saturday afternoon sometime. But Jana is phenomenal, who runs all of our community outreach things for the Shakopee Police Department. But the River South project is a lot of fun to work with, and the next phases of that. So right now we've just been working on the brand, and so every one of the entities includes River South Land of Big Fun on their promotional materials. They've got signs at their entrances, all those kinds of things. Just the really easy stuff to pick off at this point. The next phase and the next steps of that are that we're going to have a clearinghouse, basically an entity that runs River South, and with that we'll be able to put together one of the big things we're working on is packages. So if you are a retiree and you want to come and have fun with your grandkids, for one thing, we'll have packages that are put together in the winter to go to snowmobile races, going to Mystic Lake, to I guess you're not going to gamble with your grandkids too much, but you know what I mean. So having packages that work for different niches and different segments of our community of tourists who want to come here, and so we will have that. We'll also have VIP programs, so people will be able to come and have a behind-the-scenes tour of Valley Fair, and then go to Canterbury Park and go up and watch the race with PA and things like that, to really get at the experience and get at the fun of being here in the area. And so along with that, we're also going to start bringing in a lot of different other entities. Right now it's just the 4 big groups plus the city, and so we'll be bringing in, you know, all the golf courses, wineries, Badger Hill Brewery, the parks, the historic societies we'll be bringing in as well, to recognize that history and who we are as a community and who we are as a region, as well as the bike trails, and putting bike trails all through not putting bike trails through the county, but putting maps together that have the ability to go from here to Prior Lake and go biking around Prior Lake or whatever that may be. And so putting that so it's really a clearinghouse and able to support everyone at the same time. And so that'll also have, you know, hotel stays that are attached to it, and water park things and all that kind of stuff that goes along with it. So it is a very cool project that we'll be seeing a lot more stuff happening with that into the future. So it is 10 after 9. We've been going on at this for a little over an hour. So I appreciate all the questions. Let me just check here and make sure I haven't missed anything major that you would like to know. We're good there. Let's go to the Facebook page. Last place I'm going to check is Twitter. Chris asked what the time frame for revealing Marshall Road work. It'll be open in early November is the time frame for that one. So if you go to the beginning of the web chat here, you'll be able to see I talked about that for a little bit. So we'll go with it from there. You'll be able to check it out. So thank you very much, everybody, for tuning in. I hope this is valuable, and I hope this is helpful. And able to get some of those questions answered, and so that everybody knows that no, in fact, we're not going to rip out the entire roundabout and put a new one in. It's doing really, really well, and it's good. So as you have questions, there are lots and lots of different ways where you can get in touch with me. You know how to get at me if you're savvy enough to be here. So I answer almost all the questions that I get. I try anyway. Sometimes I screw it up, as we all know. But just keep at it, and we'll get it taken care of. So thank you very much for being here. I also want to thank Shakopee City staff, who are doing a great job. As you can see, there's a lot of moving parts and a lot of different things that are going on. So Mark McNeil, Chris Wilson, Julie Linehan is my savior. Sam DiMaggio, Michael Leake, Bruce Loney, who is handling all these projects that are going on through town. You can't go, you can't walk 6 feet without hitting a new construction project, road construction project in town. And so they're handling all those projects with finesse and trying to get through them as fast as we can. It sucks while they're all going, but once they're done, we're going to be in such a better shape as a community and being able to commute and being able to get around town and all those kinds of things. So again, thank you very much for everyone being here and for everybody's hard work. I will see you again soon. Thank you.